Well, no idea if we're alive or not. I guess we'll see. Starting to think we're not. First task of the night, find a 165 that, hey, truth, I've got a 165 with an SMC. Alright, that's that job done. You don't have an SMC, you don't belong there. You don't have an SMC. You don't, why are all these boards in my SMC? Ah, you do. You do not. You bring shame on this container. Alright. Hey Walter. Andrew. Looks like everyone's a bit sluggish getting here tonight. YouTube must be on the blink. Alright, so this is one of the 165 boards that it has that annoying problem where it will spin for about 10 seconds and then stop and then spin again. There's no CPU activity. Now, I know this board was working. It was running for a little bit and it seemed okay. And so we're looking at some sort of connection fault or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to try a different SMC just in case. But I have my doubts, but I'm going to try it anyway. And besides, who doesn't love an SMC job? I just realised the data is incorrect on that. So, right, should be better now. Yeah, it was water damaged. And Jason's, Arton, Wade, Travis, Andre, look. Oh, Mr. Lockhart's here too. Lodum, Rodrigo. Yeah, it could be PCH. Yeah, that's the thing. We just, it's hard to say, you know. But anyway, I'm going to try the SMC, but everything around the PCH seems fine. But then again, PCHs do just die. There's nothing unusual about that. APR 10-minute. Steve K, Andre. Sleep is for the people who are rich. Okay, so we're gonna, as you can see, I have actually already replaced this SMC. Now I need to be careful here, and if the change that we do doesn't change anything, I need to preserve this SMC because I am running a little short on the 165s. Hey Barry. Nico. Yeah, someone's watching the Snyder version of it. I haven't watched it. I probably won't watch it for quite a while yet. Yeah, because if nothing changes when I change this SMC, then I'll know that there's a pretty good chance this SMC is actually okay. And so I can stick it into my little pile of 165s that are known good. Okay. Tonto. Hey JCT. And tonight I have been doing a lot of cleaning up of jobs that I really just have to say goodbye to, you know, so jobs that you just have to go, nope, I'm not able to fix this. And there is a lot of those jobs in this room. By the way, do keep an ear out for any audio issues, as I have relocated the receiver for the Bluetooth down below me again. So it's in a superior proximity to what it was yesterday. Hey, Kerry Wooden and Daniel Eklund. Alright, so that board's prepped. Let's see, what do I need? Fault waltz for damage. It was the Heisenberg uncertainty principle coming into play there. You weren't sure exactly what you were reading. You looked too close and you lost the clarity. Alright. Okay, so we get this. It's a bit mashed up, but it should be okay. Well, in saying that, that corner is kind of upset. Volgy, you got plenty of the 165s. The trouble is, or do you mean the boards that you can't fix? I hope for your sake it's the 165s ready for SMC donation. Because if you've got lots of can't fix boards, well, that's just unfortunate. I'm only using 250C here, so it's not very hot. Oh, right, yep, okay. Boards that nobody can fix, alright. I've got a disturbing increase in 333Os that are failing on me. And they all seem to be PCH failures. And it's kind of upsetting because, you know, for a while there, your 333O was a really nice sort of final board for the 15-inch 1286, and now it seems like they're just hitting the end of their life as well, which is a bit sad. It's particularly sad that you can save the 2915 or with the GPU fix, but I don't know what we can do with the 333Os. Hey Greg, welcome. PCH is peripheral hub controller or host controller or something like that. It's a very key part of a system. You're not going to see much at 144p. That is a really filthy chip. Why does that look warped to me? Maybe it's just an optical illusion. Damn thing feels warped. Or thick or something. I don't know. I'll clean it up and then have another look. And it's not fitting in. What is going on here? Alright, I was in the wrong hole. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that section there looks like it's raised up. Yeah, I don't know how this reball's gonna go. I don't know why everybody loves reballing. Something about it makes everybody excited. Just trying to fix up all the grey pads. Hey Miles, yummy. Oh my god, it's the return of the teenagers. Yeah, I gotta clean all that junk out there. All that flux will cause considerable issues. Some cleanliness matters. Not all. Some cleanliness is an overkill. You gotta know what you need to clean and know what you can get away with. Alright, that looks good. So clean the stencil as well now. Hey Jessica, Dill. Yes, I really letting myself go here with the beard and everything like that. I just realised no one can even see me. It's probably a good thing, to be honest. There you go. And I'm not even wearing my proper shirt tonight. Definitely laid back tonight. I've been down to Townsville today, and when I got back I realised that I did not buy myself a new headset microphone combination, so that's kind of annoying. I was supposed to pick one up. That should probably work for picking up the when we reflow. It should pick it up. Hey Pro Engineer. No, we've got a little bit of rain up here, but we haven't been inundated like you have down in New South Wales, and then of course in the Gold Coast there, as you well know. Yeah, I really need more channels on this quick. Oh, Jessica, thank you. Always nice to pick up compliments like that. I mean, yeah, as far as Alita's concerned, she really likes it, so I guess since Alita likes it, then her word is gospel, and that will be the end of the discussion. Oh, for goodness sake. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so I'm just here to serve. Make money and serve. Probably causing some major rage with some incels right now. Yep. Keep a happy wife and all is good. No, I don't mean like, blindly comply or anything like that, but rather just do what you can to make things work. I need to put more alcohol into my bot. Yeah, well, that is the upside, isn't it, Jessica? You know, the dams are filling up. People do need water. Until we invent dehydrated water to make storage easier, we're going to have to rely on the wet stuff. Do I have a... No, I lost Wilson in the ocean. He was a good friend. But we kind of drifted apart after a while, you know. So I went about things my own way. Alright, so now I can actually squeeze this and I'll get some actual alcohol out. Squeeze it when it's upright, that is. Before I'd be, on its side. Otherwise I have to be making sure it's very near upright, which is a bit inconvenient when you're under the microscope. Hey Tony, welcome. I think that's enough balls. Yep, probably a few too many. I love how it's so easy to do this now. Now, Barry, that was a bit careless of you. Did you maybe, did it go on a space quest somewhere, perhaps? Maybe you threw it at some underground cave-dwelling monsters. Hopefully I didn't pick up any... It doesn't look like I dragged any. I think my temperature's a little bit low. I think in future I'll go up another 10 degrees. At this temperature I kind of have to forcibly go over everything. Then it just naturally... having that natural wave effect. Yeah, looks like a bit of a kink in that. Come on, I know there's some more. So what's this folder? You're going, once you set up the new workshop, switching to hot air left, holding things with the right hand. On right hand, but holding tweezers to the left, right. Well, I actually have it split, so I've got hot air on my right as the handle and soldering iron on the left. So it means both of my hands have to be good with the tweezers. Personally, I think the tweezer hands just, for the most part, just the silly little offsider holding the idiot stick. Alright, so we've got another nicely done SMC. Much to Lewis Rossman's horror. He gets rather disappointed when people don't have to do it 5 or 6 times. Yeah, I get the term the idiot stick is when you're out on doing civil construction, stuff like that, and you're just sort of surveying the land. Then the chap holding that vertical measurement stick at the other end, well, it's called the idiot stick. Well, at least that's what my dad said. I guess it sort of means you don't have too much responsibility at that point, so you can get away with not being perfect at your job. But, to be fair, there is actually a lot of value in having a person, because you're often a long way away from each other, at least back in like the 80s and the 90s and stuff. There was a lot of value in being able to signal to the person what you wanted them to do from a distance, and they would do it properly, like, shift it left a little, twist it this way, up, down a little, 1/2 millimeter or something like that. And having a person who could do that well was certainly very valuable. An underappreciated skill, as it were. Walter, I would say that the key to the SMCs coming out is the fact that I do that isopropylene alcohol insertion before I put the balls in. I mean, it's there for the 2 reasons. One is to stop the balls just skittering straight off the stencil into the Netherland, and the other one is that because it is such a low viscosity, it's very easy then to get the balls to just simply sit down onto the SMC without them getting sticky, because people often will put a thin layer of flux down to do that sort of thing. But the thing I found with that is that once you're rubbing things around trying to get all the placements fitted, then you start rotating that flux up to the surface, and it makes everything bind. And when you start binding things Nancy, it makes it very difficult. But when you're just using the isopropylene, there's no stickiness, they just sit down, they don't misbehave. And I think also making sure you deform them before you put that flux in. But actually I would say that maybe it's more the heating of the balls and the SMC together, so that the flux, or at least the Amtech, doesn't get too thick and just start bobbling up like a crazy cesspit of flux. So I should actually try it next time without actually waiting for the balls to deform. I think I should just let it, so it seems like it's warm enough that it'll melt the flux to a very low viscosity, and then try that. I have a feeling it's probably more about keeping the flux layer very thin than it is about the deforming. And I'm going to need a lot more heat for this. it also depends what size you're using. Like the stencil calls for a 0.35, but sorry, 0.3, but I'm using 0.35s. If you try a 0.3, it's going to be hell. It just won't work with 0.3. Or you can just go back to using paste. I mean, all my first SMCs were paste jobs. And then I thought I'd experiment with pre-made. And I'm pretty happy with the pre-made, which is why I keep using it. Even though almost every single time I do it, people go, why don't you use paste in the comments? Okay, what's going on here? It's neither dancing nor... What is going on? Oh. Wow. That was very delayed from what I was expecting. Okay, now it's dancing. Make sure that the SMC is actually really clean as well. If there's flux on the SMC, then yeah, it just bubbles up from underneath. I have a feeling why this works if I change the SMC is because it's heating the board. And if it does it again, and then when it cools down it fails, then I know it's definitely either an internal board fault or it's our beloved PCH. And at which point I'll give up and go hunting elsewhere. I was kind of hoping it was something else because there is liquid damage on the board. And looks like Paul's hot air station damage too. Whoops. Hey Eddie Payner, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, cool this down. Yeah, Walter, thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate that vote of confidence. But yeah, I do tend to agree with you. It's probably the PCH. Jessica, yes, holding the torch is the other very important task. If you can become a skilled torch holder, you'll be well sought after. Yeah, I hope we're all wrong, and I hope it was just a bad SMC again. But I've had so many of these, and you get moments of elation when it does work shortly after you've done the whatever you've done, and then it stops working the next day. And if you're really unlucky, it stops working after you've actually sent it to the person. And then you get the message from a couple of days later, it doesn't work. Why do I pay you for these things? You don't do any good work. You suck, mister. Okay, no, come back. Alright. Hey, Flying Sky from Belgium, welcome. Alright, so see how we go. Now this one was the one, like I said, it will spin for a little bit, stop, and then just constantly spin, and there's no CPU activity. And that's not permitted on a 165. A 165 does not spin stop. A 165 just spins. So we will get a spin to start. I think I just saw that blink. No, I just saw that stutter. It's going to drop out and die, I think. Yep, there we go. Dead. Let's heat up the board or something and see if we can coax it. Your brother got you to hold a wire on the London Underground when we were installing Pyro. What's Pyro? Mongrel. That's not a brother you want. That's a brother that deserves to be dead. Itchy nose. It's probably running a bit. Oh, there we go. I can usually tell if it's going to fail because the fan will have... Yeah, it's still going. The fan will have a telltale little slowdown for a split second, and you can just see it. If you watch it closely, you can see it. I don't know if you can on the video, it won't show up, but I mean in person when you're working on these boards, when you're looking at the fan, it doesn't have a constant RPM, it gets this hiccup, and that's the telltale sign. Now the reason why I'm sort of persisting with this one a little bit is because of the fact that I know it does work. I actually started out in this state and I did a bunch of work and it came good, and I thought, hooray, I've solved it, but then it just, you know, recessed back to its old former bad boy state. Let's heat up the ISL. Fire alarm system. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, after the King's Cross fire, yeah. Yeah, and it stalls again. I actually think it goes... No, it can't possibly go backwards. Can it? And it's just really annoying because I am getting a collection of these boards and I really want to find out what's going on. So that's why periodically I'll spend time on this task, hoping that one day I'll just happen across a way to get it to behave again. The gecko doesn't seem to appreciate that. What's a drawing? Yeah, and it sits at this 250 to 270 milliamp. Hey, Chaz. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I was actually thinking of doing that, but I thought, oh, I'll wait for it to spin out a bit longer. It is not that daft, really, because I have had, I think I was videoing it when it happened, but we've had a board where the camera caused all sorts of nightmares. And so what would happen is I'd fix the board, and everything would work fine on the bench, and as soon as I put it into the machine, it would die, and it'd be because the camera had some issue with it, and it was causing it to die. And it wasn't like a normal death, it was just a weird misbehavior. It stalled again. I'm only heating up segments, because at least if you heat up segments, then if it does come good, you have some sort of region to work from. Check for resistance around on CPU FETs. As far as I know, they're okay. I think it's about 11 or 12 ohm. Yep, stalled again. This DC board I use all the time. It could be something like a voltage, just not quite making it up to where it needs to. Or maybe... Oh, that's right, now I remember. When this board was working, it still had errors that came up saying that the temperatures were all out of whack. And that's why I've gone and replaced the SMC. But what I'll do is I'll replace the temperature sensor chip. the controller chip for the temperature sensor. It's probably not going to solve it, but I do remember that now. It came up, it was working, but when I checked the temperatures, they were all out of whack for things that were actually on that chip there. So now I remember that's why I've jumped back into this one, because I thought I've got a hint. It's, you know, it's giving me something. And when I looked down here though, there wasn't anything that I could see that was wrong, but wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, that was my hint, and that's why I'm back here. No, this is a different one again. That other temperature one, it's sitting on the bench behind me. Yeah, this one's a different one. I'm not going to reflow the CPU. If you can reflow the CPU by changing this chip, then you've done something pretty damn impressive. It is a crappy spot for the chip to be, I will say that. And doesn't help that I just realised I'm on 80 air instead of my usual 110. With Wagner, yeah. Hey, nuts and proud. Yeah, tell Tim you did it with a Wagner. Tim Herman loves hearing the Wagner stories. Oh yeah. A great big fight over that. What I might do is actually take a moment here and measure the diode mode. It's going to be a little bit skewed because of the fact that the board's hot, but I want to measure the diode mode for the 8 Tammy Stark from Bonneville. That's right. Yeah, I want to measure the diode mode on the SDA and SCL lines. So that's, is it 11 and 12? Okay, it's these two here. 5-3. 5-3, they're balanced, so that's good. I'll check on the other side of the resistor though, it shouldn't really make any difference in this instance. Okay, 3-0. 3-0, so that's good. And now I'm going to check the two test points over here, which I'm pretty sure are not the hairy tips. Pretty sure it's one of them there. 7-1. What? Alright, that's interesting. 5-5. Alright, that's better. What did I press on before? Oh, I pressed on that. Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, okay, so this here is SDA. And this one here is SCA. Okay, so they are basically the same as what we got when we measured over here, which is what we want. So 5-5, 5-6. Yep. Hey Basil. Hello Fran, how are you, Fran? Oh, the cat's watching, cool. I better put on my best behaviour then. So it is getting a little late here. It's already 1:15. But like I said, I just really want to. These are the sort of problems that make you run your business at a loss. Not because you want to, but because it just drives you mad. It wouldn't be so bad, except I've got a fairly high demand for replacement 165 boards. And so it would be nice to be able to fix a few more. Oh, what's the bottom left? Let's see, what do you mean? There was that great big drill cavity from the donor board, is that what you were meaning? Ah, right, yes it was. Yeah, if you had a working board looking like what that donor did, then yeah, there'd probably be some problems. The center pad hasn't yet heated up. Yeah, it's been rightfully difficult about it. There we go. I'm gonna let it recenter itself. Oh shoot. Now the reason why I knew the center pad hadn't yet reflowed is because I wasn't getting any. There was on these connections up here. There was like a void of solder where there should actually have been plenty, and that was because the chip was riding up still on the center pad. Right, it's not perfect, but it's a start. Just put in the cooling system. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so here we go. It's probably running still a bit too hot, but no, you're stalled. Yep, there you go, down and out. Blimey heck. So it's really the only two things I could think of is that, that temperature sensor and the SMC. They're the only real two parts involved in that process. Okay. 1.7. Well, the CPU's being powered, but it's just not going anywhere. Do you sell things for microscope to change scenes? I do not know. I've basically just hacked together my own compass sensor, and then the computer talks to the compass sensor through an I2C bridge, which is just USB to I2C. and then I wrote a piece of software that just reads that the value of the compass reading, and then it will emit the keyboard combination required to change the scene. Could be around the charging port. Got a 235. Yeah, I think we need to put this on to rest. It happens often enough and consistently enough that it does feel like it is something like the PCH that's failing, and it's just brought on by something. Now the trouble is, this is a, what is this, an 8 gigabyte? Damn it. 1.6, 8 gigs. What a nuisance. Put aside for another day. Maybe. Alright, so I did end up getting another board. But the trouble is, this one, this is where I'm getting wigged out. This one also is giving me temperature sense reading issues. It's running, but yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe on this one it actually is the SMC. As a general rule, I haven't honestly encountered any boards with that temperature sense chip underneath the CPU have actually been faulty, unless, you know, there's legitimate corrosion around it or something like that. But for all the others, it always ends up being the SMC. Okay, now this SMC has not been replaced. Swap the trackpad. Oh, I didn't look at that. Yeah, actually I think it was this one that was the trackpad that needed swapping. Hang on. Let me just pull some screws. Well, I know what I can do. Instead of putting it into this chassis, I'll put it into another chassis. That's a smart thing to do. What's wrong with this one? And this one here has its own problem. I haven't even begun to think about this one, but it will try and boot, and as it gets towards the end of the boot process, where it would normally switch over to the user mode ready for input and stuff like that, as in the login input, it just never gets there. It just slowly. It's kind of like watching a frog try to get to the edge of over a line, but every hop it takes is half the distance of the previous hop. It's excruciating to watch that stuff. Alright, let's see. I need a chassis that I can rely on, because that one I can't, because I don't know it. So no, you're a filthy... No, you're filthy... Ah. 1708's no good to me. This is getting to be a little bit of an issue at times, where I have too much crap around here, too many duplicates of things, and as a consequence I tend to start not being able to just have one known good setup that I should just grab when I want to test something. Instead I've got all these different bits and pieces everywhere, and right, this one doesn't have a flipping keyboard flex. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. All the little different pieces everywhere. Once you get a known good hardware, you really need to try and break your fingers if you start taking pieces off it and stuff like that, because it will only bite you anyway. Okay. Okay, that. Put the speaker in because it's cool. And we need a keyboard flex. That one's missing a keyboard flex. Seems like keyboard flexes are my thing to steal. There's one floating around on the ground. What could possibly be wrong with that? Organised chaos. Now, if only that was true. Thank goodness I put stickers on these things. Looking at that for a second then and thinking, what the hell's this? Alright. Let's see, can't use MRI on that one. Hey Bruce. Hey Justin Anderson. Slightly overcooked potato is the first dislike. Well, how unfortunate for you. Clearly not enough tin foil around you when they threw you into the fire. And now you're getting all crusty and angry. I hate the way, Walter, that because you're dealing with so many different machines and chopping and changing all over the place, you almost inevitably get tripped up by the stuff that you had diagnosed before, or you should know better about, like, you know, in this case, say the trackpad. You forget about those things. You dive straight in looking for the fault on the board instead of stopping for a moment and thinking, you know, maybe I've seen this before, or maybe it's not that. So you almost need to have a backseat repair person just annoying the hell out of you sometimes. Seems like that booted actually a pretty decent pace, so Walter may have hit the money on that one. We'll find out when all the data for the sensors. Yep, that's looking right. In the other shows it comes up saying like 6,000 RPM, and it does. It's running at it flat out. All the temperatures are good there. Okay. So let's check that out. Shut down. I hope you're right, Walter. I really do. So I was at IKEA once and asked a girl how much was Brad Pitt postage. So what person said that one turn around. Aha. That's good for your own ego boost. Good joke. I'll leave that trackpad cable there. It actually does have a crimp in it. A weird kink in it, rather. Almost like someone folded it wrong and then unfolded it. Almost like someone like me. Okay, so this is a 1.6 i5 8 gig, so it is actually a direct replacement for the other one, which is why I'd so desperately wanted this to work. Alright. We'll take the trackpad out and we'll inspect it. She should have replied, no, that's actually a poster of Angelina Jolie. Assuming she looked like that. Not that Angelina is my thing. Nothing against her or anything like that, but not my personal choice. Yeah, I'm looking at this damage here. And And I always forget which 6 to pull out. And I end up having to take all 12 of these screws. I think I've already boxed it up. What's that? What's the intermittent red light appearing on your Mac screen in the desk? Oh, that will be my barcode scanner. So you're seeing the reflection. The barcode scanner is just up there, and it's motion sensitive. So if I wave my hand, see, it triggers it. I have tried several times to repair these trackpads, but not with the greatest of success. And I particularly dislike the way that they do this backflip on the keyboard. It makes me wonder if the keyboard might need replacing too. That'd be fun. The right thing I should have done was to unhitch that originally. Yep, no, it's got to come up, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's got to come up. 12 screws, buddy. 12 screws. If you're replacing the trackpad. If you're just simply removing it, then taking out the bottom 6 should do the job. Well, the thing is, trackpads are actually quite expensive here. I think it's like $70, $80 for a trackpad. I should just buy like a dozen or two from AliExpress. That's what I am going to look forward to, is, you know, now that the house has been purchased and I don't have to like be so tight with my money, I can start to bulk buy parts that I know I'm going to have to replace, like trackpads and decks. You know, I may as well just buy complete decks already done. Alright. Oh, there we go. That one was nicely hidden under the keyboard area. Yeah. I'm wondering if the keyboard is actually going to be good or not. This side get hit as well, I think. Oh, of course you can say I told you, but then you'll just set a bad precedent and I'll become resentful. How's that sound? This is the hard part about giving advice, is you've got to be careful to avoid making people resentful of you. You know how it is. Anyway, I wonder, can you actually ultrasonic these or not? I've never tried putting one through the ultrasonic. But, yeah, alright. Okay, so... Okay, so 451... Yet another machine. And like I said, we don't even actually know if the keyboard is damaged or not. It's gonna have corrosion on the... Yeah. Actually, it might be a complete deck replacement. Pardon me. Yeah, that's... We'll have a look what it's like when we take that stuff away, but it's probably going to be a prudent move to replace the keyboard. Well, I guess we'll see. Depends if it did any damage to the internals of the keyboard, because it looks like that's cleaned up alright. Oh, Mr. Hook, welcome. Now the next question is, where does Paul get another trackpad when he's used up all these 1466s lately? I suppose I could... Yeah, here I go. Look, not even taking my own advice from 5 minutes ago. I'm looking at this one, I'm thinking, oh, I'll just take this one, because I know it works. It's an idiot. Okay. Just check to see if this one has any notable issues. This is a machine I picked up recently. It had a catastrophic PCH failure. The chassis was good though, but in this case I'm going to have to cannibalize it. Jim, sorry to hear that you've got that pain harassing you again. By the way, I've got all your goodies. I found all the bits and pieces, including the JVC camera, and I will try and pack that up and send that off to you tomorrow. Where did that one go? I hate it when you accidentally knock a screw off the tip. And you're just like, well, it's going to appear somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to appear somewhere. Hopefully not between the screen and the chassis. Jim, you poor bugger with daylight savings time too. There's a smidge of liquid there. We'll give it a good test. And to be fair, a lot of the ones that you do buy from places like AliExpress, etc., they're actually the same thing. They're just random pulls from another machine that they've sort of thought, well, this doesn't look like it's completely dead. So it's not like you're actually getting a new one. If you think you are, then, well, maybe this business isn't right for you. How's it going, Warren? Come on. This is the PH000J driver, and when I got it I thought it was actually broken, but it's not. It's just a very shallow driver for these sort of very shallow screws. If you use a normal PH00 on this or something like that, then the tip of the PH00, it's too long, and so you don't actually get any driving force on the walls. You just sort of tend to sit and spin. Of course, if you've got a very well used double O, then you probably already have worn it down, so it probably will work. Barry West, well, thank you very much. Thank you for the 15. Believe me, there's... Oh yeah, she clicks. I'm trying to think, put that towards the house. Well, I've got so many renovations to do. We did get rain here today, and we also had Niagara Falls. My wife says, she comes up to me and she says, "Sweetie, come and have a look at this." And I go through one of the doors, and it is pretty much raining through the roof because something has... there's an internal gutter that runs through part of the house. Something's blocked up the internal gutter, as I feared it would one day. And so what's happening is the water's coming down to go and feed into that gutter. It's got nowhere to go, so it's just pouring out and down onto the floor. And I'm like, yep. Nearly 20 years I've been here, and now you decide that you're going to, now that I've bought you, you're going to decide that your gutter's going to get choked up. Bravo. Well played, universe, well played. Let's get this thing together, and hopefully I can sleep with a little bit of happiness on my mind. Downspout plug? No, it's I think what it is some of the insulation has fallen out of the ceiling and it's landed in the gutter, and so you got that, that matte sort of stuff. It's just choked up. So I'm going to have to make up some sort of contraption to haul that stuff out. And as it is, the gutter on the front of the house, that is where it would normally drain out, it's half fallen off the roof anyway. So I did have a roofing guy who was supposed to come and fix it all up for me, and I just haven't heard from him. The trouble is, around here, if you're a half decent handyman, and you actually do your jobs well, then you have an unlimited supply of well-paying work, and I almost forgot to put the rubber on. Now, some people would say it doesn't matter. I say it does. It matters to me, and that's what matters. I know it will work fine without it, at least for most cases. But I would prefer it if it was as it was. And since I caught it early enough, I was able to do a little bit of a lift and, well, jam it in. I think I might have to zoom out a little bit, sorry. Internal what? Internal foul water pipe. Is that like bath water or grey water, or worse, is that sewage? I hope it's not sewage for your sake. Tony, it's about 3 to 5 meters, I think. I haven't exactly measured it. It's not incredibly long. Hey, 11,000. Hey, creature. Yeah, I've never been a fan of building a house or designing a house with things like that in it. Yeah, I do not like one bit the concept of sealing away certain things that inevitably will need maintenance at some point. But it seems to be popular to do stuff like that. It's like, well, you won't have to worry about that for 20 years. And here I am at 20 years. I am genuinely wondering at times whether I might, in fact, if we decide, redesign that whole front section, because it's an interjoining hallway, so to speak, between two distinct block houses, and it's awkward, and it was probably a little bit beyond the builders. The design in theory was fine, whatever, but the builders struggled with it, I think, and so they kind of hodgepodged it a bit too much. I mean, I've got 3-inch RHS on the outside of the blockwork to reinforce or to hold up the roof portion, and it's like, why is this done like this? So yeah, very much a case of I am strongly considering just at some point ripping it all down. What's this PVA? Oh, yeah, never dries out because it's got no air exposure to get rid of the water. It's not too hard because basically I have these containers, and when you work on a board often enough, a container like this, you can sort of, each compartment has its purpose, and so you sort of get used to that. There are other people, like I know Lewis Rossman, he just sticks it all on the magnet and seems to do a pretty good job of that. For machines like the 1466, there's not too many screws, and after a while you do get to know the different screw sizes and where they belong. But for something like a 1706 or 1707, yeah, he's pretty crazy. But he does it. Some people can do it in their head. Some people need little containers like I have. Some people leave notches on their bedpost. And people are going to go, what? And then they'll probably go, oh. Speaking of which, I just bought another 15 of these. They're very handy to have around. They're cheap enough, although they're probably about 2 or 3 times more expensive than what I used to pay for them. Personally, I blame Pedro, who's not around at the moment, because he started buying up all the stock of them. Then I had to buy new stock, and that stock had to come from overseas, and so therefore I suspect the price went up because of his needless greed. Okay, right. Battery time. And the battery is cactus as well. Man, this whole machine just needed yep. The whole machine needed a complete overhaul. This is going to be one very expensive job. See, PMP got the drift of the bad joke. Creature, the thing is, because I use these same containers for many different jobs, then all I'm doing is simply, work out how I can maintain the relative position of where they belong, and also maintain the uniqueness of the screws within that, or relative uniqueness. Like, you don't want to go and mix a 1.2 with a 1.1 sort of screws if they need to actually be kept apart. But if you have 1.2s at one far corner and 1.1s at the other, and you can just mix them up a little more with other size screws, as long as they're distinctly different within the compartment. Alrighty. What can I do? Right, we'll just plug this in. Hope it doesn't go bang. We don't need any flashbangs here today. And we will see if this... It's only shiny because of the plastic on it there. I've got to peel that off. It sounds a little more pleasant. Hey, Corey Postma. I'm Mohammed, welcome. Oh, crikey. Well, it seems like the audio's been alright because nobody's whined or complained. So the repositioning of the receiver has done the job. Greg, I do believe you actually have mentioned that. You're welcome to recite it. This is actually booting very slow, so that gives me cause for concern that maybe the keyboard is bodgy. Hi, Cecilia from Poland. We'll do a keyboard test. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that the keyboard is fully functional in terms of electrically. See, that's... It just means, okay, the keys are reporting correctly, but there could be other quirks going on. Okay, here we go. Yep, that seems fine. Thank goodness. Oh, check it out. Nah, I think the keyboard's gonna need replacing. I'm up to 6,500 RPM. Blast. Damn it. Oh, damn it, damn it, damn it. There was a little bit of corrosion on it, but we washed it away, and we hoped that it wasn't going to cause any further problems. But it may be in this case that it's reporting funny stuff. So we'll take the battery out, we'll disconnect the keyboard, and see if it behaves normally. If it behaves normally, well, that's it then, you know. Yeah, I was kind of hoping it was just simply through the trackpad, weld on the underside, and, you know, killed out the main board a bit. But it seems like it decided the trackpad alone is not enough. It wanted more. So, yeah. Okay, keyboard disconnected. And before you start thinking I'm an idiot, I will actually get an external keyboard. So at least I can type in the password. The trouble is I need to... Oh, there it is. Okay. I can never remember which key. Nuts and proud. No, unfortunately the microcontroller on that insulin fridge is kaput. Or at least I think it's the microcontroller that's problematic on the basis of the fact that the ADC input, or the voltage sense input for the temperature, it's like half a K resistance or impedance on the input, which is a little bit low for an ADC. Usually you expect, maybe 10K at the worst, but no, half a K was a little bit pushing it. Okay, why is this going slow? Did I put the wrong trackpad back in? No, I didn't, because I wrote on the other one. Bad flex, maybe? Didn't I replace that flex? I didn't look at the underside of that flex. Oh, because that's running slow. I know it's running slow. Well, unfortunately I can't do anything because the microcontroller has the ADC integrated, so you just, it's like with an Atmel AVR or something like that. You just simply have an ADC pin. You feed it with something about 10K impedance, and you should be fine. But nah, this thing, this is okay. So maybe it's actually this here. We replaced the wrong thing. Unless, of course, it's all upset because it can't see a keyboard now. Okay, I did not replace that because... Yeah, okay, I can see... Yeah, and something like that going on. And unfortunately, because it's a programmable item, well, what am I going to do? So unfortunately I have to just walk away from that. On the upside, I do have, at least now, a container, a chassis, and a fan, all that sort of stuff. So maybe I can do something with it later. But for now, I've ordered another one, so that was $170 for a new fridge, which is pretty expensive. But believe me, the amount of money it saves you by your insulin not going off, it only takes about a month or 2 months, and you recover your cost. Alright, let's try this again. We don't need that because I've reconnected everything. Option. But, blimey, oh no. I'll choose different words to curse it. Yeah, okay, now that's running fast. Yeah, a tiny 84, or even a 44, a tiny 48 would do the trick. I do like the TQFP 28 package. It gives you enough pins to mess around with things. Like if you say you don't have to get complicated with your routing, and then you can just use a simple 2-layer board. Yeah, and that's I could do that, but we go in and out of the fridge far too often, and it would shake it around a bit too much. Jim, it's only half a litre. Like, it's a very compact thing. I've got the original one here, see? So this is the original one. That's it. And it's quite small inside. Now, that's all it is. So you can fit about 6 or 8 vials of insulin in there, depending on the size, or 3 standard ampules. Depends whether you get. Okay, I obviously have not put that. Alright, clearly I didn't plug that in properly. Yeah, it feels like it's in. Geez, this is turning into quite a fess. Yeah, it's very small. It's just a little. You get those single can USB cooler fridges. It's the same principle, really. Well, it is the same principle. The only difference is the insulin one has a battery backup and better temperature control, things like that. You get them off eBay. Actually, there's nothing technically special about them. They're just plain old 12 volt pelters. Very simple principle. Solid state temperature tooly wooly. Jason, it depends on the type of insulin again, I think. I mean, I don't have to keep mine cool, but the keyboard's definitely working there. Yeah, I don't have to keep mine cool, but the thing is, because Micro only uses 2 units of insulin twice a day, so 4 units of insulin a day, and a typical 10 milliliter vial contains 1,000 units. So, yeah, that's 250 days worth of insulin, technically, if I did it perfect. But because if I leave it out at normal room temperature, it's going to go off in 6 weeks anyway. Whereas if I put it in the fridge, I can get easily 200 days. It's running slow again. What is going on? It's running at. You better not have done. Oh, great. So, great. Fantastic. Oh, man. That flex must be bodgy. It's running okay in the EFI state, but then when it switches over to the USB, it loses its head. As long as it hasn't damaged the board. And people go, why would it do that? It's like, well, for a start, Murphy's Law. I usually keep the insulin at around about, I think it was about 5 degrees. Anything between 2 and 5, I think they recommend. One of the big reasons I don't run it down to 2 is because our ambient temperature is very high, obviously, around here. And so as a consequence, you can sort of end up making it thrash itself a little bit too much. Trying to get down to 2 degrees when outside it's 40, so... Yeah, I've got a bunch of them folded, but they're not folded up. Yeah, Jason, that's it. You would use yours up. Like, you get 10 milliliter ampules or something bigger. But, yeah, a typical human will use them up at a much quicker pace. Nuts and proud, I'm using the 3 milliliter ones at the moment because they couldn't give me my usual one. and I don't really quite like them as much as the bigger ones, mostly because, at least with your pen situation, you only have to load it, and it's only that one initial shot, like into the actual flask or the vial, whereas I have to use the little manual needle and try and aim it into that very restricted port every time. Oh, what the hell? Why do I get the feeling this is nightmare? It was working before, that's the terrible thing. It was working before. What have I done? Did I knock off a resistor somewhere? No. This is just like a nightmare machine. I mean, come on, it was working. It just had the high temperature problem. And now you're telling me you don't want to work? What is this? Modern day union rule? Okay, you're in there. Yep, you're in there. Well, the keyboard was working before, that's the thing. You saw it. You saw me test it. And now, this is the third flex that we've installed here. Okay, this one's got a little bit of gum on it. Holy crap, that's a terrible flex. But that is different to the one that wasn't working before. So it's like I've got this cascade of horrors. Paul's Workshop of Horrors. I mean, I know this one's working. Sure, it's got a little bit of flux on it, but I've been using this for ages. And you're in. It's not the screw that. Oh, don't start talking about that. And like I said, we know the keyboard technically works because it is bringing up the option. Hey, John White. Yeah, so we know, that works. But that's because it's in the EFI, so it's using the SPI mode. Janaka. Nope, she's running slow. So slow. Blimey heck. This is where it can get fun, when you start creating cascade faults, if something like that has happened, where one faulty part causes another part to become faulty, and you just start going around in circles until you probably kill yourself. This isn't a different chassis. That's the scary thing. Yeah. Okay, trackpad's not even working now. What the hell? Nothing's working. 1465. I'm just going over my other bits and pieces here. See if I can find a guaranteed fresh flex. Yeah, well, that's the scary thing with the whole, that just the thing is that these are known good parts. So the trackpad was working just fine. Everything was good, except for what was the little issue we had? We had a little issue. Okay. Yeah, so again, it's working. External is also working. I'm so lazy, I'm not even looking over the screen. I'm just looking at the camera capture of it. How did you get the AST2? What? What's the AST2? I don't know what the AST2 is. The high fan spin doesn't seem to happen until it gets to the login screen. Like right now it's doing more 1200 or so. But then once you switch over, this actually the speed was a bit better there. And we are incorrect. It is not. You gotta be kidding me. Yep, no trackpad, nothing. Interestingly, the fan is not spinning at 16. So we've actually created a different problem here again. This is not a flex problem this time. Yeah, because the RPMs are fine. I think it's getting a bit late for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect the keyboard, this portion here, and then I'm going to boot it again, and then at least see if the trackpad runs. If the trackpad runs, then yeah. Elimination, elimination, elimination. And this is why sometimes it's just easy to get a replacement deck. So I change the deck, all good. The B4 STL, ideally only 2 hours end to end. Okay, oh that's right, why am I holding that for it? Yeah, ideally only 2 hours end to end, but realistically sometimes a little bit longer than that. Yeah, the keyboard's working in EFI, but I'm wondering, because they does communicate over different lines, Anyway, I'm just doing this as an elimination test. I'm in no state of mind to try and think carefully. Do I even have trackpad? Yeah, I don't even have trackpad. Alright. Something's really gone wonky here. Oh boy. No, 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 no. Let's try a couple of PRAM resets. That's what we're going to do. Diddly squat. But we're going to do it anyway. I mean, it's possible, Arnold, but the thing is I haven't changed and I didn't even take the board out, so... I don't want to go chasing component faults yet. I don't know why I'm holding it down for the third time, but I guess I am. Yeah, the MRI is the other tool I use. Mac Resource Inspector. Arnold, you probably can't take too much of that into account on the basis of the fact that this has probably been an ultrasonic clean board and it's probably also camera discoloration. Anyway, which resistor are you talking about? Because there weren't any up the top side. There's any capacitors up there. Like you got J8400 and then you got C7137 and 36. Yeah, nothing. Cap locks is stuck on. That's interesting. I've not ever had it before where cap locks is on. What in heaven's name? Arnold, which board are you looking at? I haven't shown the underside of this board in a while. So this is the keyboard connector. There's your cap, diode, MOSFET, whatever. So, yeah. Now on the other side, of course, yeah, you've got all this. But we haven't looked at that side. We've only been shown up here. What's the possibility that that trackpad just died in its guts? Yeah, high considering what we're going through right now, yeah. Let me just wire in something else. Oh boy. at least get some semblance of something, you know. Let's see, 1369. I don't think that's going to work. I'm pretty sure the 1369 ones have different cable connections. I'm almost certain they do. I'm not going to risk it. Let's see. No. Otherwise, I think we'll just have to call it a night until I can order in another couple of trackpads. So I tend to go through them at a fair rate. Well, I suppose what we could do is use the one that we know is faulty, just simply to see if we can restore behavior. Arnold, I'm testing it with the flippin' trackpad first. Like I said, I don't have any compelling reason at this point to suspect it's a board fault. Not given... I'd sooner suspect this trackpad was a dodgy one than it being a board fault. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying I'm not going to yank the whole board out without first at least trying the trackpad again. Yeah, because this will induce the 6,000 RPM problem again. And so we will have a slow boot. But what we're doing here is we're trying to ascertain if this trackpad that we just installed has actually decided to give up. Alrighty, that kind of looked kind of promising. Let's see. Yep, that moves, and yep, we've got restoring of our... See? And that is why Paul doesn't listen to people sometimes. It'd be funny if the 6,000 RPM is fixed up now. Funny enough, I can't hear it yet. It's fixed now. It's fixed because we clean up the junk off the cable flexes. But yeah, that's all working fine now. Oh yeah, of course that's not going to work because it's the inner one that I'm playing with. See, I got the two trackpads here, so I got to play with this inner one. Let's see if I can do this via the camera. Damn you. Sorry. It's too small on the 11-inch screen. I just can't see it. Alright. So there you go. After all that, we ended up back at square one, but we ended up finding that we had this trackpad decided to give up. That's very annoying. But again, it's an example of sometimes you just got to backtrack a bit and think, well, what have I changed? And then go and change things back. So maybe I can clean that up. I don't know. Either way, I've got to order more trackpads. That much is given. I'm kind of curious whether that would work, Creature, given that it doesn't have any... I don't know. I tried to do it, but it didn't come up on that one. Anyway. Alright, I'm out of here. That was a roughie, but at least we know the main board works. And yeah, crikey. This is not what you want from a 1466. 1466s are supposed to be the money makers in the job. This one has not been. It's just the way it goes. Okay, I'm out of here. You'll take care. I'll see you next time.